Good morning, Dr. Beth. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm doing very well. Thank you, Linda.
Well, I just want to thank you. I just, you and I talk back and forth constantly.
All the
And
time.
with everything that you've been sharing with me, I just knew that I had to do this little mini interview with you and share with our Shape family, but with prospective healthcare professionals that are looking at Shape as a product and program to bring into their clinic. And
Hmm.
so I just want to thank you for, I know you're really, really busy and you're giving up your time this morning. So just thanks so much. So I'm just going to start throwing some questions at you.
Love
And,
it.
I've just got this list of questions and I'm anxious for you to just share. So
Sure.
first and foremost, you've been a shape practitioner since June of 2013, 11 years.
It's hard
You've
to
been a
believe.
practitioner and Shape is 14 years old. So for the
Yeah,
lion's share of the life of this national program, you've been a Shape
I've been a
practitioner now,
part of
and
it.
you continue. I mean, it just is amazing. You continue to have just this constant influx of new patients and referrals. And
Hmm.
you reached out to me at, I think it was at the end of last summer and said, I just need some help. Would you be willing to just help me sort some of this out? And I flew in and, you know, I just said, okay, you're trying to serve two masters and
Right.
we need to kind of, get this straightened out. So talk to me about that.
Yeah, so I was kind of at a breaking point, I would say, because I was trying to transition my practice from Chicago to Lebanon, Indiana, where it's my hometown, and I was coming back home to kind of help take care of my dad and family here in town, and wanted to establish, a practice here in central Indiana. And I was at that point, I was trying to, as you said, serve two masters. I was continuing to see people in Chicago. I was traveling up there at that point once a month, and for a period of like a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So for a period of 4 days. So I'd be in Indiana for 3 weeks. And then the fourth week, I would be basically in Chicago because I'd leave
Well,
Tuesday.
that's where you landed, but I think you originally started, you were going back there every week, weren't you? And you were splitting your week and then it was every other week. And so at
Yes.
the point that you called and said,
No
I
more.
need
Yeah.
your help and advice and counsel, you
Yeah.
were down to going once a month,
Once
and
a
that
month.
was still too
Yeah.
much.
That was still too much. And I was just, I had my foot in both places, if you will. And so we figured out a transition plan per se. And after October, I think it was, I didn't physically go back to Chicago anymore. I supported my patients online and still continue to do so. And I am in Indiana 100% now. And from the moment that happened, in October, I actually had to hire some help in September, for me,
Right.
just because I was,
And I remember
half
saying to you, you can't afford not to hire
hunting.
somebody.
Yes, yes, exactly, exactly. So I think, that was, to be exact, I think it was around September 15th. And so from then until now, I think I've had about 103 new patients. Um,
Well, and that's part of why I'm even interviewing you, because you texted me, I think it was the first week of March, and said, hey, since you were here the last week in August, I want you to know I've had 75 new patients,
yep.
that I've taken 75 new patients through the
Mhm.
SHAPE program. And I'm like, what? And I
Yeah.
was so excited about that. And then when we got ready to do this interview, you shared just from the 1st of March until now, we're toward the end of April, it's now 103.
Mhm.
So, I
Mhm.
mean, I mean, it's just amazing, Beth. It's just amazing. I mean, you're an amazing practitioner, so I give
Oh,
you all the credit for that. And
thank
I,
you for
and
that.
of course, I'm a little prejudiced, but I think that Shape continues to stand the test of time and prove that it is a viable program. We're all about we say we've got this four-pronged approach. We're about detox and cleansing first. It's a
Mhm,
gentle
mhm,
detox and cleanse. We tackle toxic burden and decrease inflammatory symptoms like no tomorrow. We strengthen the immune system, and weight loss just happens to be a wonderful side effect. And
mm,
we've been teaching our practitioners, start with shape, start with shape.
right.
It's the perfect place. Every healthcare provider, when they get a new person in, they've got a laundry list of symptoms. So as Dr. Todd says, where do you start? Where do you start? And we say start with shape. So talk to me about shape being your foundation.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would say just that as a foundation, like a typical patient, I would say, that comes in to see me is, let's just say, a 47-year-old female. It could be a 47-year-old male, but, they can't sleep, they've got depression, anxiety, they've got hot flashes, they're fatigued, they've got brain fog, they've got gut issues, they can't I
Yep.
don't know if I said they can't sleep, no
Right.
energy, a lot of them have a lot of the people I'm seeing right now have gallbladder issues, like they've had their gallbladder out and they've got massive digestive issues. And it's like, okay, like you mentioned, where I I could start one of 100 places, and shape just levels the playing field on so many fronts. And so that we can, dig a little bit deeper, and they start to feel better almost instantly.
Right.
And then they're in a better, you know, frame of mind to have a conversation, maybe a little more pointedly, about what's going on, and, how we need to kind of rein things in a little bit in terms of, other symptoms and things like
Right.
that. But
Right.
yeah,
It's interesting because, when I'm talking to new healthcare professionals that are looking at shape, I say to them, look, your job as a shape practitioner is threefold. You have to help people understand that food is medicine. They
Mhm,
must change their relationship with food and embrace a healthier lifestyle. Plain
mhm,
and simple. This is what it's all about. And the sad thing that I'm really concerned about today is that so many people, out of desperation, are turning to the GLP semaglutide injections. That
mhm.
is not teaching them one thing. In fact, we're hearing that they're being told, no, you don't need to change your diet at all. You just
Right.
do these
Do
injections
this
and
and
it's going to help you lose weight. Well, it's also going to cause stomach paralysis and vomiting and diarrhea and nausea and pancreatitis. And I mean, the symptoms are just unreal, but
right.
people are desperate. And I
Mhm,
understand that. And
mhm.
we're saying, listen, okay, if you feel that that is the direction that you have to go, you also are going to need something that's going to help you change your relationship with food and really learn. And I know that you're an amazing educator,
Mhm.
and that's what you're doing. You're teaching your patients. So I
That's
love that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's the major thing. When you know better, you do better, right?
Right.
So a lot of people, and I would say, demographically, I'll say my practice in Chicago was more forward thinking, I'll say,
Mhm.
and we're aware of more, um, I don't like to use the word alternative, but um, other methods are there other approaches to healthcare.
Right.
And so here it's kind of like brand new to everybody. So my approach has had to change a little bit, and I've kind of taken a step back to say, okay, let's start literally from the very beginning. So just talking about high fructose corn syrup and food coloring and MSG, and about labels, how to read a label. We might touch on this a little bit later, but uh, one of my uh, presentations, I think back near Valentine's Day, was what's in a food label, or what's on a food label, and
Right.
had people here at the office and talked about that. So just just trying to be creative and present things in a way that people are intrigued, and that maybe ask a question and say, you know Do you have this? Do you want to know more about this type of format?
That's good. And one of the things that I've always loved about you is you have taken advantage of all of our resources. We provide you with a program guidebook that actually has been written and developed by our family of shape practitioners. They're the ones that came to us and said, we always have to explain this, or we need to explain this, and can we put this in the program guidebook? So, it's just so wonderful that, everybody that starts gets, a copy of this program guidebook. And you don't have to do a ton of explaining the program because the
Mhm.
program guidebook does it. And then our
Sure.
website, I know that you use those resources and you send your patients to our website, watch
Right.
the video series, read those articles, understand what are the ingredients in our formula, what are they there to do, what are they doing to help heal the body from the inside out.
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Todd developed these drops with intent. He
Mm-hmm.
had a huge reason behind every single ingredient that he put in there. And I
Mm-hmm.
love that you have used our resources and then you've just built on that. You're just amazing. Tell
Yeah.
me this,
Thank you.
what percent of your patient clientele, after you've worked with them and taken them through the cleanse phase and then stabilize and get them to that point that they're living their life, hopefully we've been able to get them to a point of embracing a lifestyle that works for them. It's keeping their inflammatory symptoms controlled. It's keeping their weight controlled. They're satisfied. They don't feel deprived. We say all the time, look, we have to be a little strict at the beginning when we're trying to
Mm-hmm.
get you healed, but
Mm-hmm.
shape is not meant to be a prison sentence. It is not.
No, absolutely not.
We want people to live their life, and food is just the wonderful part of life with everything. It's with every aspect of life and relationship. And so
Right.
we we want people to be able to reintroduce some of the foods that we eliminated for a
Mm-hmm.
while, but then we want to teach them. So talk to me about that. What percent of your people, embrace a healthier lifestyle because you've been their educator?
Yeah, I would say about 60 to 75% of people, you know, do, and if they don't, they're paying for it or their body's paying for it. Just because, shape heals the body at the cellular level, or functions, works at the cellular level. And so even when people have fallen off the wagon and they come back, and I always be sure to reiterate to them that, you're not starting from where we once did because of this, but we just need to do a little cleanup here.
Yeah,
And
we'll
and
reboot.
did it, yes, exactly. And then, usually they're back off and running again. So
And, we have always said, and we teach our practitioners that when you're working with your patient, when you're actively working with them and helping them heal, be planting those seeds to say, hey, listen, once or twice a year, or I mean, Dr. Todd and I do Shape as a Detox and Cleanse every quarter.
mhm,
Uh,
mhm,
I'm 68 and he's 71,
mhm,
and we just do everything in our power to just stay as healthy as we can. And so, we do those periodic detox and cleanse. And when we were actively in practice, of course, we're retired now, and what we do is support all of our shape practitioners. But
mhm,
we would say to them, when Todd would release them, because we had accomplished what we needed to accomplish, he would say,
mhm,
listen, I want to see you at this time and this time in the year. And then
mhm.
we would check with them. Have
Right,
they maintained? Are
right.
those inflammatory symptoms still under control? Is
Mhm,
their weight still under control? And if not, we really, encourage them to rein it back in because we don't
right.
want them to lose all the ground that we gain. We'd
Yeah.
rather catch them at if they drop 50 pounds, we'd rather catch them at the 15-pound mark than them already be back up to 50 pounds. And then we say, oh,
Oh, right,
okay,
right.
we need to start this again. You
Yeah.
know, Beth, that I have been taking drops for 15 years. So
Mhm,
Shape is 14 years old as a national program, but Todd developed the product a little prior to that, and we used it in our practice before, colleagues and people were hearing about our great success
Right.
and started asking if they could use our product too. And when we made our own product, the least amount that we could manufacture was 1,000 bottles. So we thought we had enough product for Todd to last the rest of his career before he retired, right? And
Right.
I said, hey, we've got product, we can share product. Let's share product with our friends. So we just started
Hmm.
sharing with our friends, and we didn't have any of the portfolio of resources that we have now. And
Hmm.
honestly, it was not our intention to grow a national program. Our intention was to sell practice and move to northern Wisconsin and retire, right? That's
Is
what
right.
we were going
Right.
to do.
Yep.
But, we love working with our practitioners so much. And I continue taking those drops every single day. And
Right.
when you understand um, what's in this product and what its purpose and its intention is, a
Hmm.
lot of people in our practice, and I think in a lot of ours, maybe yours as well, continue taking drops as a part of their support supplement. I call it my homeopathic multi
Yep.
because it supports every system. And as I said, I'm 68 and I have no health challenges, none,
Right.
absolutely none. And I
Right.
really attribute it. And through all of the madness that we've gone through with COVID and all the everything,
Yes.
we remained very healthy. In fact, Todd was treating COVID patients,
Hmm.
and we never got COVID. We,
Right. Right.
we just believe in really building and strengthening immune function. That's what we're all about. So
Right.
what do what percent of your patients come to you and say, Beth, I feel better taking the drops. Can I continue taking the drops?
Well, I would say, gosh, I would say close to 80 to 90% of them, honestly. And my answer, obviously, of course, is yes. They, their mood is better. They sleep better. They don't have hot flashes if that was a concern. But they're just really, they just say they're more balanced.
Yeah.
They just feel balanced. And
Yeah, we would hear, my joints don't hurt, I don't have gas and
mhm,
bloating.
mhm,
Yeah, I'm sleeping better, I have more energy. I mean,
mhm,
we heard every kind of everything. And of course, we were the same way. Absolutely, absolutely. In fact, quite often, uh, patients would say to us, I don't have to take this, and this because shape does the trick. And one
right,
dose a day typically will keep those inflammatory symptoms at bay. Now,
right,
when we're actively under, the cleanse phase,
right.
patients are taking 3 doses a day, but one dose, I take 1 dose a day. That's
Mhm.
all I do. It
That seems
sits
to
on
do.
my desk, it sits on my desk. And so the
Right.
first thing I do in the morning when I sit down at my desk is take my
Take your
drops.
drugs.
So,
Yep.
why do you think that your practice is different from some of our other shape practitioners' practices? Everybody gets the same training. We pour our heart and soul into every single practitioner and teach them. As Todd says, we give everybody the keys to the kingdom. We were
Mhm.
really successful. I don't say that in an arrogant manner, but we
Mhm.
were really successful.
Yeah.
Todd practiced in St. Louis for almost 38 years. He was known for treating St. Louis's medical failures, and we were crazy successful. And so here we are, retired from private practice, and we are doing everything we can to teach everything we know that
Mhm.
we learned over all those years to help you be successful, help every single practitioner. We're all in this together. We've got crazy health crisis in this country. And
Yes.
even with everything that's going on, with all the things that they do, type 2 diabetes is on the rise, cancer is on the rise, obesity is on the
Yes.
rise. With
Right.
what is going on? So
Right.
we are teaching everything we know to our practitioners to pass along this legacy of um, great information that
Mhm.
helped us be successful and help people heal from the inside out. So tell me, why? Why, Beth? Why do you continue to have all these constant influx of new patients and referrals? It's amazing.
Right. Well, what I'll begin by saying when I get stuck with somebody, I will always call Dr. Todd if there's a, if there's an issue, like, man, the most recent thing actually is somebody has osteomyelitis, infection of the bone, and he's diabetic. And so, just to be able to, bounce something off of him and
Right.
see what he thinks. I will often call him now, and I'll start out with what I think, and then he'll, either agree or say, "Hey, I would add this or that or blah blah blah." But in the beginning, I'd be like, I don't know what to do, and he would kind of lead me to that place. But um, I would say, just knowing that you're invested in them, and you're listening to them. It did help that I came back to my hometown, so that was, well, I was gone for 25 years, but uh, coming back to a place that I was, fairly familiar with.
Yeah.
um, One thing I did was, I chose one social media platform as a base, and I use Facebook. And one thing I noticed was that people weren't really responding, or people weren't sharing and things like that, liking whatever. Um, so many of the static images with words that I was sharing. So I started making videos about anything, videos
I
about
love your videos.
hydration, videos about sleep, videos about anything, literally anything. And I'm gonna do one today about cortisol and the HPA axis, and I'm gonna do one about thermograms. And but people just enjoy hearing what I'll say, a different perspective
Yeah.
on things and different resources. And that's honestly, that and word of mouth has been the only. I have done no other advertising whatsoever. I have spent $0.
Yeah.
um
We've
and
always said word of mouth is
yeah,
the best. Word of
yeah.
mouth is the best. I do say to practitioners that I'm working with, after you've had somebody be successful with shape, do you say to them, hey, do you know one person, one
Mhm.
friend or family member that's sharing with
Ask.
you that they're struggling? Then ask,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
ask, and if they just share one person, if you've got, a base, and what was your base? What do you think your base that started, then all of these 100 people came from?
Yeah, I would say probably 10 to 15,
Yeah, 10 to 15
really,
people.
before it broke out. Yeah.
And I always say to these new practitioners, look, start with a dozen. Get a
Mhm.
dozen people to have success. And I know they can have success because you have success constantly, and we had
Right,
success constantly. So
right,
when somebody says to us, yeah, they're not staying the course, they won't
right.
commit, they won't, I don't know. I just go back to, what are you doing to pour yourself into them to help them understand why they need to do this, and what is
Mhm.
the value of this program, and how
Mhm.
it's going to really change their health. But I just love that. And if they start with 12, and you go to those, if those 12 people have success, and you say to them, can you share one person, just one person? You've instantly doubled your practice. You've gone
Right.
from 12 to 24. And if you keep doing that, and at some point you don't even have to ask, because it just, and
Gonna happen.
you're at that point, you don't have
Yeah.
to ask. It's
Right.
perpetuating itself.
Mhm.
When
Mhm.
somebody does really well, their friend and family sees that they're doing well and says, what are you doing?
Mhm. Mhm.
We've been criticized, why don't you just sell your product on the internet? And we're
Right.
just never going to do that. We're never going to do that. There's a zillion products out there. There's a zillion programs out there. People can go do their own thing.
Mhm.
And we have this health crisis and this obesity crisis. And so we have always said, no, we're not going to do that. We are practitioner monitored for a reason. We want our practitioners to invest themselves and
Mhm.
really, like you said, just show that you really care, love on them, and just really help educate them to turn things around. I love that you do that. I
Yeah.
think that's why you have all the referrals, because
Right.
your patient knows how much you love and care about them, and
Right.
they love and care about their friend or family member.
Right.
that, they want to refer them to somebody that is going to help them.
Right. Right. And sometimes it's about, because change can be overwhelming, right?
Yes.
So sometimes it's about, backing up and saying, okay, I'm gonna meet you where you are, right? And
Yeah.
we're gonna change. I want you to try one new recipe from the website a week and make that be a goal, right? Try when you go shopping in the produce department, try one new vegetable that you've never cooked with before, a leek or
Yeah.
something like that, and
Right.
incorporate it in what you're making. Um, and just start slow, because just with all this going on in the world these days, it's a lot for people to just they kind of sit there and
Absolutely.
with the blank stare, and
Absolutely.
you can read that, and so you just back up and say, okay, here's where we're gonna start. We're gonna start slow, and again, there's nothing wrong in backing things up a little bit too for those
Right.
that
Right.
need to.
Well, what you're doing is crazy successful. I
Thank you.
just want to thank you for sharing your heart with me today, because I know you're going to continue to be crazy successful, and you're just a really great role model for others. And I just really thank you, Beth. It's just been wonderful. And, keep up the great work. I love seeing people posting out on Facebook when they see that you've worked with them and share that you've been just such a great supporter. So thanks. Anything you want to share with other practitioners or inquiring practitioners that might be looking at our program?
Yeah, I just would say that, you in the very beginning, you encouraged us to make this our own. And so I've added, just d- do that. Do that. There's nothing saying that, you have to follow step by step by step by step by step.
Right.
And, you make it, yeah, make it your own. Make it whatever
Right. Do what you
whatever
say.
vision,
Yeah,
whatever vision you have, make it come
absolutely.
to light. So,
Absolutely. We say, do what you do,
yeah,
add shape. Do
yeah,
what you do and add shape.
right.
And,
Right.
magic happens. So I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled for you. I'm so happy for your success. I know you were a little nervous starting over in a new
It was a big risk, man. We just
town.
jumped in with both feet and but
We knew you could do it. Well, we love you. Thanks for
love
sharing
you too.
today, Beth, and we'll be talking soon.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, thanks.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.
Bye.